Welcome back to Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2024. Last time we really struggled. We went 4-8 in 12 games. Here toward the middle of season 6, hoping we're not let go of at the end of the season, but we may very well be. Uh, I've done a lot of what I thought, or what I've, as we've been along, I've tried to make adjustments with defense and offense and philosophy. And sometimes we go on streaks and things work, and sometimes they do not work. And we're currently at 21-27, not in the playoff picture at the moment. So, yeah, it is what it is. We'll go ahead and set things up, play the Spartans here in the first game, and we'll see how they look. In real life, the Boston Celtics have won another NBA championship, which is their 18th, I believe. Yeah, they're not a good three-point shooting team, so we'll change things up. Actually, we'll leave things the way they are. We'll do the passive man-to-man because you want them to take outside shots. So we're actually set up how we're supposed to be set up. But speaking of the Celtics, we also have all people back. Parker's back, so that's good. Uh, the most championships of any franchise in NBA history, and they've won another one. But it's been a while since they've won one. 16 years. And coincidentally, if you rewind the clock back 16 years, I was 16 years old watching the Celtics win the 2008 title 16 years ago. And I was very much a bandwagon fan of the 2008 Boston Celtics team. Uh, Largely because, not necessarily even really because of Paul Pierce or Kevin Garnett or Ray Allen, who I was fine with at the time, but mostly really because of the point guard, Rajon Rondo. I'm a big Kentucky fan. You probably know if you followed the series. And to me, it was the coolest thing in the world to see Rajon Rondo play point guard to those guys who I knew would be Hall of Famers. And that was such a cool thing to watch him play uh, point guard for those guys. So I loved that team. Um, Also love the bench on that team. They had, Eddie House, P.J. Brown, Sam Cassell, and of course Brian Scalabrine. Uh, so yeah, I loved that team. I still love that team. I'm not really like a you know like an overall Celtics franchise fan. I mean, I don't have anything against them, but that team in particular, I loved watching Rajon Rondo play um, in his prime, and it was kind of a shame that after his injury, he was never really the same after that. But yeah, I I really enjoyed watching that team. But congrats to the Celtics on winning their first championship in quite some time. Um, I thought the series would be more competitive than what it was, but uh, you know, is what it is. And congrats to them. And we lost our first game, there against the Warriors, so we play the Commodores next, and we have a couple of injuries to Voskuhl and Preston, which does hinder us. I mean, that's not really good. So we'll check out the Commodores here and see what they play. So I guess the next event in the NBA would be the draft, which is next week. It's exactly a week from today. And, one of the bigger names in the draft is Reed Sheppard, who I'm a big fan of. Reed grew up just about an hour and a half away from where I live, where I'm currently living. So, I mean, he's from Laurel County here in Kentucky and spent a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of, but spent during our summers as a family when I was in high school and even in college, and even the first few years that I worked, we would often go to the flea market in Laurel County, a couple of different flea markets, my family and I. And so, I mean, I'm actually fairly familiar with the area that Reed grew up in. Uh, so it's pretty cool to me to see a guy from this area, an area where you don't see a lot of people, a lot of athletes have a lot of success from, uh, be as successful as he was in the college level and hopefully the NBA. And we're not going to change anything for this game because they're also kind of poor from three. So we were doing so good with the 7 seconds offense for a while that I don't want to change it. So that's kind of why I'm keeping it. We actually did win this game, so that's good. But I'm excited about next week's draft. Hopefully things go well for Reed Sheppard, and I'm trying to keep modest expectations on the kind of career he can have. It is a weak draft, and it's important to remember. But he's a phenomenal shooter. Shot like 52% from three in his year at Kentucky, so he's really unselfish. Probably could have taken more threes. Almost unselfish to a fault at times. Probably could have taken more threes and didn't. But I think he has potential to be a really good player. These guys are very mediocre from three. They're right in the middle of the pack, so we're gonna play him straight up. I'm actually wondering, there's something else I could do, I think, strategically. What if we looked at these teams and like their free throw percentage? Okay, you can see that this team is a really good free throw shooting team. So we want to slack off a bit on defensive pressure to not foul them as much, to not send them to the line, because they're going to hit their free throws. So maybe we scale back a bit on that. I want to bump the pace up a little bit. I still wish we could get our assist numbers up. Okay, let's go ahead and play this game. Yeah, they didn't. They lost by 2 though. It's kind of a could have went either way. Man, during that streak we went on a couple of videos ago. Excuse me. It was good that we had that streak, but in hindsight, I think we played a pretty easy schedule during that time because we played some tough teams lately. That must have been the weaker part of our schedule, probably, if I had to guess. The Beams are always good. They've been good since we started this thing. So I don't know that we can really do much, quite honestly. Oh yeah, they're great free throw shooters. So I don't want to slack off defense too much. I think I'll just leave things as they are. Vosco is still probably the one that's injured, but we'll check and make sure. Yeah, he is. So I'm not going to change anything in this game. We're just going to play it or sim it. Yeah, in some ways I can't wait for this season to be over. I just hope it's not the last season. I'm actually kind of excited for the next season. Should we have a next season? We play the Peaks next and check and see how they look. We're going to play a passive man-to-man on them. And we'll play. Gosh, we scored all those points and still lost. And we have the Twisters in the next game. So yeah, we're really not doing well in this video either, unfortunately. Not so far anyway. We play the Twisters. I'll switch back to the man-to-man on them. Straight man-to-man. Make sure we already checked the depth chart. It's like it's supposed to be. So we'll go ahead and play. Okay, we did win. Bunch of trades coming in. I don't know I want to make any trades. I know it's getting close to the deadline. Parker with 16, Morton with 11, and once again in another win where all of our starters are in double digits. So a double-double for Parker, who was player of the game. And yeah, it's a good win. Doesn't One win doesn't help us a whole lot. But I don't really know if I want to make any trades. I definitely don't want to trade any picks away because we're in a position where we're likely to get a pretty good player from the draft this upcoming season. And also, I don't want to mess with my cap space because the one thing we do have going for us is we did not go over budget. So I really don't want to make any trades. I kind of want to just, I kind of want things to play out however they're going to play out. So we're already by the trade deadline now anyway. So it is what it is at this point. Playing the Coyotes next, and I hope Vosco is back. No, he's still out. 3 more days, so he had a decent wrist injury. It's been out for about since we started today, but should be back soon. Check out the Coyotes and see. Yeah, they're a really good three-point shooting team, but not a good free throw shooting team, which is a little strange. Usually those go hand in hand. So we will. They are a good three-point shooting team, so we do want to play the attack man-to-man to stop them from shooting so many threes. We also want to maybe possibly play with some more defensive intensity. I'm also going to bump the pace up just a little bit more because our assist numbers went up a little bit and we won a game after last time. So I'll bump those up a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Man. We actually have a couple of more assists than they did. Numbers are actually pretty close. Even though it was an 8-point game, the numbers make it actually look a little bit closer than that. I might just have to start switching from. We did so well with the 7 seconds that I'm reluctant to switch from the 7 seconds, but it's not working out for us lately. So I'm thinking of just switching to. And Parker is out again. I'm thinking of switching to. Gosh. Just a balanced strategy. See how that works. Who do we play again? I don't even remember. The Twisters again. We've already played them once today. Yeah. They're kind of mediocre at both free throws and 3-point percentages, so we're switching to a balanced offense just to switch things up because we're really losing a lot of games playing 7 seconds. So we'll go with balanced, straight man to man. And we'll bump things back a little bit. Not too much. Actually, I want to keep this pace up. So, all right, let's see how this fares for us. Vosco's back, but Parker's out, so we exchanged one great player for another, but we won. Spears with 21 off the bench. Morton with 11. Sean Little with 19. Once again, all starters in double figures. Vosco in his first game back with 10 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. So, yeah, not a bad game. Good win on the road. And no games on this day. Maybe we can get Parker back before next game, maybe. And maybe not. We play the Roar here, and I assume Parker is still the one that is out. But only for one more day. So, the Roar, they're pretty good. Let's check and see what we can do. They're kind of mediocre from 3. Pretty good from the free throw line, so let's bump this back a little bit. Don't want to foul them too much. But being mediocre from 3, I don't really want to switch anything on this screen over here in terms of defense. We'll just keep the straight man to man. And hopefully come out with a win. So let's go. Okay, we got another win. Sean Little, man, with a double-double. I think there's a decent chance that Sean Little could be like first team all rookie. And we have the All-Star weekend here. Ooh, looks like Roger Spears won the 3-point shootout from our team. So congrats. Future stars. I really expect Sean Little to have been in that game. So let's go back and look and see. Yeah, he was in that game, but he didn't get the minutes I really expected. 11 minutes. I expected him to play more than that. He didn't do bad in the 11 minutes he played. So 14 points in 11 minutes is really good. Let's get through this All-Star break. And no games on the first day back, so we'll simulate through. No games on the second day back, so we'll simulate through. Okay, we play the Burn next, and we're 57 games into the season. Uh, yeah, I guess we'll do a few more games and then call it a day for this video. They're pretty good at the three, so we want to play an attack, man to man. And still kind of sag off. I don't want to sag off too much. I never want to sag off too much on. Well, no, they're a poor free throw shooting team, so we want to play. Okay, so we'll bump up the defensive intensity and play an attack man to man to reduce their 3-point shot. So that'll be our strategy here. I want to talk about this logo for a second. I know this is a flame, but it reminds me of a symbol used on. Once again, this is speaking to my classic basketball game nerd. It reminds me of the symbol on the old NBA Live games from like NBA Live 2003 to 2005. You had this symbol with a shoe with wings, and it was symbolic of somebody who could get a lot of height on their jump and dunk the ball. It was like for a good dunker if you had that symbol next to your player name. And I remember when I first had NBA, I think it was NBA 2000 Live 2003 was the first game that had those symbols. And I remember buying that game in the 5th grade and trying to figure out what that symbol was and what it meant. Because instead of looking like a shoe with wings, to me it looked like a banana coming out of its peel. Like a banana that had been partially peeled. And I didn't know what that meant. Like, what does a banana mean in terms of basketball? And then after a while, I think eventually I looked in the instruction booklet and it explained that it was a shoe with wings. Or I eventually figured it out, but I remember initially there for a while I thought it was a banana. And anyway, that's what that reminds me of, like a sideways. Like if you look at it from the side, it kind of looks like that symbol they used. Anyway, completely random tangent there, but uh, what we're going to do here is bump up the defensive intensity and the rebounding because fouling them is not a very big risk because they're not very good from the line. And we'll play an attack man to man because they're a really good 3-point shooting team. And we're still going to keep with this balanced offense for now. We've won a couple of games using that, so we have no injured players, so we need to make sure. Yeah, Parker needs to be back in the lineup. This is not a bad lineup. I'm still struggling to figure out why we are struggling so much. I mean, every single one of these guys in the starting lineup is at least 3 stars. We have Sean Little, who's one of the best rookies in the league. We have Roger Spears, who's like a grizzled veteran, who's a great three-point shooter that just won the three-point shootout. So our top 7 guys are all really good guys. Plus Terry Rich, who never gets to play hardly. Excuse me. It was nasty. Sorry for the burp. Terry Rich, who hardly ever gets to play, really is also a great three-point shooter. So when he does get to play, he's contributing. So I don't understand why we are what we are this season. I never thought that we would be one of the greatest in the league, but I thought we'd be better than 7 games below 500. So, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and play. Wow. I didn't expect to lose by 11 points. I guess we can move on then. We play the Gears next. We have 1 injured player. And that is Kit, and he doesn't play a lot, so that doesn't affect us all that much. I do think we should go back and look at the previous game. We turned the ball over 18. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's never good. We turned the ball over 18 times and had 13 assists, so that's never good. So you know what? Let's actually let's turn this pace down and see how that works. I'm turn it down quite a bit. Just see how it goes. Because that's not a good recipe for a win at all. You never want to have more turnovers than assists. Uh, oh, against the Gears. Let's see. We're at least trying different things, but man. Okay, so we can probably play a passive man-to-man and cut down on the free throw shooting a little bit, or the defensive intensity a little bit. We want to encourage them to take the three because they're not all that good from three. We'll stick with the balanced man-to-man for now. I think we checked this right. Kit was out. Yes. So, all right. Let's see what happens here. Goodness gracious. Slow pace doesn't give us any points. Fast pace gives us too many turnovers. I say we stick it in the middle, leave it alone. Yep, let's go to the middle. We'll leave pace alone. It'll be what it is. We'll play this last game here against the Americans, and we've had another unsuccessful video, I would say. There's really struggling video. Still just have Kit out. And we'll check out the Americans here. So we can actually probably bump up our defensive intensity against those guys, but also play a passive man-to-man because they're not a good three-point shooting team. So we'll do just that, keeping it on passive man-to-man. Bump up the defensive and rebounding intensity. That's pace again. Not pace. Defense and rebounds will bump up. And we'll play this last game. Well, let's check this just to make sure. I think Kit is still out. Yes. Okay. And play this last game here today. Gosh. Well, all right. Obviously, we are still not in the playoff picture because we're in an even worse situation than what we were when we started this video. So I'm not even going to bother checking the standings. We stink. We do not need to look at the standings to know that. And that is all there is for today. So if you're still watching, you are a champ, and I appreciate it. And hopefully this coming up weekend, I can find a way to get another video up. And pretty soon we'll be through this season, and we'll see what happens at the end because I do not know what will happen. We'll either be fired, and that will be the end of the series, or will not be fired, and then we should get a really good draft pick, and hopefully things go better next season. I'm excited for a next season if there is one, and quite honestly bummed out if there isn't. But we're just about 5 months away from the next installment of this game. If they're going to make, I mean, I'm assuming they're making a Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 25. If they don't, you know what? I'll start up another one, but I'm assuming they'll make a 25 and we'll start a new one then. So that being said, we'll see you next time.